Hey everybody, today's May 16, 2023, and today we're going to talk about the price of Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about the upcoming, debt ceiling crisis deadline around June, and see how that could potentially affect the price of Bitcoin if it's not resolved. And before we begin, please read the disclaimer and you can pause this video as you read it. Okay, so where we left off last time was I was talking about how we were trying to see what the CPI report would be. Right, and the CPI report was as expected, right? So that didn't really change much of the price action. It basically, the stock market was pretty stable, and so Bitcoin was also pretty stable. But at the same time, I said that we could potentially retest 26,000, 25,000 potentially, right? So Bitcoin, we weren't able to hold the support level here, and so we broke down and had a bit of a pullback down to the 100-day moving average, but I also said these moving averages will probably act as strong support. And I said that we had a pretty good chance of retesting 26,000 because that was the 100-day moving average, right? But I also believe that we will eventually come down and retest the 25,000 level because that is where the previous high is, over here and over here, right? Oops, 25,000. So like I said, sorry, give me a second. 30,000 is really strong resistance because in a previous bull market, 30,000 held as support, but was eventually broken. And so we had to basically just plunge, right? We also, 200-day moving average was also strong support, but then we broke down and stayed a couple of months below. So now with that, we basically pushed up high above the 200-day moving average in March. Now we're coming down, I believe, to retest it, right? I talked about how we could possibly retest the 200-week moving average, which is around 26,000, right? So 26,000, this blue line, it seems like we did come and touch it, but we've wicked up, right? So now it seems like we might come down and retest it again, which 26,000 coincidentally is also the 100-day moving average, right? 100-day moving average. But I also said, like I said, 25,000 could be another level that we come down to retest, which is also previous resistance. And sometimes we have to come down to retest the previous resistance, hold it, and turn it into support, right? So what could be the catalyst that brings us down, and makes us not hold this support level? And that could be right now Congress, and Congress is right now debating whether to raise the debt ceiling or not, and they probably will do it. But the problem is the left and the right have their own agendas that are pushing on each other. So they're basically going to hold this hostage. They've done this in the past. They're going to hold the debt ceiling hostage probably till the last minute. Freak everybody out, freak the markets out, and probably come down, strike a deal at the last minute, right? But until then, the market, in my opinion, has not really priced in what could possibly happen, right? And so the market has been flat for the last couple of sessions, and I talked about in my stocks video, which you can watch. It'll be out today. That I can see the market pull back, and as long as it holds, it makes higher lows, right? As long as it holds these moving averages, it might fill the gaps, might come down, retest these averages, but as long as it holds, the market structure should be okay, and we might see a similar pullback in Bitcoin, which might take us down to where I believe my target of 25,000, right? Which is also slightly below the 200-week moving average, 25,000. And when the debt ceiling crisis is resolved, we could see a nice spike up, right? And like I said, right now the market sentiment is neutral. The stock was in greed, so it doesn't seem like the market is pricing in a potential volatility event if everything comes down to the wire, down to the last minute, right, to resolve this crisis. Yeah, but if we just look at the price action, we can see that we're making lower highs, right? Lower highs and also lower lows. So we have to, at this moment, give benefit of doubt to the bears, right? A lot of people still think that we bottomed and we will go up and retest 30,000. But like I said, 30,000 is strong resistance because we tried to hold this as support and we broke down. So I don't think it's going to be as easy to just break through 30,000. So we probably will come down, retest 25,000. And as long as we can hold this, and as long as the debt ceiling crisis is resolved, I don't think that this pullback is going to be as bad as people think. I think there are definitely some people who still think Bitcoin could come down and take out the 16,000, 15,000 low and go down to 12,000, right? But I don't think that's likely unless the stock market crashes. Now, of course, we should look at the dollar, which generally moves inversely proportional to the price of Bitcoin, right? The dollar is gaining some strength. It seems like it's finding at least a short-term bottom, right? So if it does move up a little bit, we could see downward pressure on Bitcoin. But if the debt ceiling crisis is resolved, we can see this can come down, and that will definitely give Bitcoin a boost, right, higher. If we do come down first, retest to 25,000 and push up. So again, it's not financial advice, but for me, I'm definitely waiting. I said this in the last video. Have some orders in around 25,000, some mining stocks, Riot, Mara. Yeah, so those are my plays. Of course, do your own research, do your own due diligence, and make your own financial decisions. But that's just what I'm looking for. Yeah, so really not much to talk about until this debt ceiling crisis is resolved over the next couple of weeks. Janet Yellen said that if they don't raise the ceiling by June 1st, they could start running out of money to pay off the debts, right? And if we have a default, that could be catastrophic for the economy and definitely for the markets, right? So that's what we're looking for. That's going to be the next major driver narrative of what's going to move the markets, right? Besides CPI and interest rates, because right now they pretty much reached terminal rates, right? Above 5% for interest rates. So I think that the next meeting they're either going to pause or raise it one more to 25 basis points. But I think that the likelihood is they're probably going to pause because they've already reached above 5 basis points. Sorry, 5% terminal rates, right? Not 5 basis points up, and it just seemed like there's been a lot of like banks that have been hurt and like damaged and shut down by the upward pressure in interest rates. So I think that the Fed is probably going to slow down. So we're not going to see that much of a catalyst, in my opinion. And I think the major driver, at least for the next 2 weeks, right? The next 2 weeks, the major narrative is going to be how the debt ceiling crisis is resolved in Congress. So I'll definitely keep you updated with charts and videos, and we'll see what happens in Congress, and we'll see if the price of Bitcoin does pull back a little bit along with the stock market down to 25,000, or if they're able to resolve it and everything looks good, then we might see a nice rip hop higher. So we'll have to see what Congress does, and I'll definitely come back and update you as these events unfold going on into the future. If you found this video helpful, useful, or informative, please like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for updates. Appreciate all your support. Thank you again, and have a great day.